welcome to the April 18th Ward 5 Meeting Assembly. We're here at the Burlington Works. It's 45 Pine Street. It's not too late to come join us in person and get some delicious food. If you want to tell us, there's 3. Three can't tell us about the menu. But it's delicious. It looks like we've got some rice and veggies and tofu and egg rolls and chicken. Lots of good food. So we are going to get started in just a moment with our public forum, but I'll do some information first. We go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So our guiding principles here in Ward 5 are that this is a safe space. We want to provide a welcoming forum. We want to be accessible and reduce barriers to participation and engage with all community members. This is a respectful space where we respect cultural and economic differences and we value diverse perspectives. We also want to be relevant, creative, and fun. As always, if you have feedback on how we can do that better, please let us know. And we are not partisan. We do not endorse political candidates. Today is an exciting day. We are. You can go to the next one. Yeah. We are going to elect a new steering committee. We'll say more about that in a little bit after public forum and announcement. But our current committee members are Roger, who's not here with us today. Then we have Joe, and I'm Lena, and Doreen, who the food and is not in the room, and Terry, and Jason. So you'll hear more from some of us later. And then if you ever want to find us online, we have our own website, NPA5.org, and then we have a site on the Burlington website that is burlingtonbt.org/NPA5. And we've got Fosca over here helping us out with chat, and Charlie on camera. We are live streaming. Thank you to Tony TV. You can watch now, you can watch later on YouTube. And you can write to all of the steering committee members at ward5npa_btv@lookatgroups.com. It's enough. Okay, we're ready for the next one. Not sure if any folks on Zoom, but if we do, unmute and you might start your video, stop the video. And I will always try to keep an eye on the screen. And if I miss you, then somebody else knows it's going to catch your hands up. Without further ado, here's our agenda. This is the welcome. I hope you're welcoming. We're going to do public forum in just a moment. Anyone is welcome to participate. We're going to hear a bit about our water pipe survey from folks at the Department of Public Works. And then we're going to select the steering committee and then do a bit of a fun workshop. Projects to make our neighborhood more fun to work with. Okay, public forum, here we go. So again, anybody's welcome to participate. Please identify yourself. Let us know where they should link, whatever you're comfortable sharing. If you're affiliated with an organization or an entity, please share that as well. We will keep an eye on the time so that everyone has a chance to speak. If you're saying something really interesting, we might let you go over 4 minutes. But we'll see. All right, anyone from public forum? Yes.
I'm Cassie Foley, from Ward 5 in Bedford Town. I spoke to you last month. And so I thought I'd just give you a few minutes update on what's happened since last month. The city has signed an agreement for Burlington Housing to have security guards in the building. So we're going to have a security guard starting very soon, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. We don't think that's going to be sufficient to solve the problem, but it's a good start. We also presented the EHA with a list of questions that we want to answer. Probably heard you talk about we want to go into this project. We ran it, well, Laura Lisa's from the housing. And so we did a little work and we contacted our city council and on the city members and other people that have been interested. And then the executive director told me that they spent the money and bought insurance to cover volunteers. So I guess the big roadblock thinking about that liability is it's coming down and we'll be having some discussions about it next coming week. Things have improved significantly in this building. We're trying to see a downturn, the increase. Where it was getting worse over the last storms, but we'll be addressing that. Then the expected it because there was the homeless population. Now we're going to the population that are refresh them, and then bring the groups in. So we've just been very involved in that, getting people off the property. So that's kind of where we're at. So we are still have the open invitation for anyone who wants to come. We'll make sure that, you know, we can coordinate that with me and I'll make sure that, you know, we have fortune to stay to visit, throughout the building, see what's there, meet some of the residents. And certainly we'll be having some dinners coming up, we just had a really good breakfast and evening breakfast, we had some dinners. And we see a lot more of me here, so I'll be continuing to invite you. Right?
Thank you, Kathy. Other folks here, public forum. Andy?
Hi, my name is Andy Simon. I live on Rocker Street. And I'm part of a group called Friends of the Barge. Group of local volunteers who work to conserve and protect the Pine Street Barge Canal, which is just down the street here. It's a 28-acre space that used to be an industrial space, and now is a wooded and wetland space that is largely a federal sewer fund site. It's very highly polluted, but it's slow in recovery. The Friendly Barge now is working to protect that space and to encourage the city to keep it as a wild space as much as possible. One of the things that we've been doing is by the down to that space, and one of the ways we've been doing that is on Green Up Day every year, which this year is May 4th. We've been gathering a group of people to help clean up the barge plant because we've shipped tons and tons of garbage, leftovers from people who've been living there, on how people who were living there, industrial stuff, various things, and each year there's less garbage, but there's still lots of trash. So we need a crew. We will have work gloves for people, but if you come, you should wear long pants because there's poison ivy and other stuff down there. And bring some water to drink and a hat. So believe it or not, it could be sunny. And we're going to get it from 9 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's great fun. Getting to meet people from all over the city and each of the group. So May 4th, Saturday, May 4th, Green Up Day in our town. Thanks.
Other folks from public forum. Yeah.
My name is Jack Tiano. I'm in Ward 5, I'm kind of right on the border on St. Paul Street, 6. I just wanted to kind of make like a quick observation. The eclipse last week, I don't even know how long ago that was, but recently everybody remembers it. You know, everybody kind of had their own experience with that day. It was really awesome. But one thing that I don't know if everybody noticed explicitly was how quiet and enjoyable the city was on that day. I was personally expecting it to be mayhem with the amount of visitors we were going to have, but I was completely and utterly I think it was like the complete opposite. Like it was the most magical day I've ever had in the city in the past 12 years. Even with the amount of visitors that we had that day, with the street closures and the way that the city handled that, the lack of, I'll be explicit, my agenda here is the lack of cars downtown was so great. There were so many people walking and biking. It was so quiet. There were so many people enjoying the day. And, you know, we still managed to handle so many people coming into our city and leaving our city. The highways were obviously slowed down and blocked, but like, you know, that's kind of like the thing just to kind of point out that like, our city handled so many people coming in, and it was the cars, the car infrastructure, the highways, right? It wasn't our downtown, it wasn't our city, it wasn't our amenities. So just kind of like, I don't know if anybody else noticed that explicitly, but I just wanted to call attention to how well the city handled that. how beautiful that day was, and how maybe we should, consider how we as a community can ask for more of that all. So,
Once a month.
or every day.
Eclipses every day.
Well, not the eclipse. But that would also be great.
That would be cool.
We could share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Charlotte.
So I'm Charlie G. I'm actually from Washington, and so I work for CCTV, Sound and Television, and I'm going to say this at all the NPA meetings. So my assignment that day on the eclipse was to go to Church Street and to City Hall Park, and basically just give people an opportunity to say hello, keep wearing the phone stuff. So I said to everyone the same thing. I said, who are you? Where are you from? What do you think of the eclipse? What do you think of the world? And instantaneously, so I spoke to hundreds of people. So I said that to hundreds of people over a 6-hour period. And I was just overwhelmed at the number of people who said instantaneously started talking about how wonderful Burlington was, wonderful Vermont. And that was such a great experience for me to hear that. And that's why I just want to share with people. When people come here from other areas and visit, everybody thinks that Burlington is the most wonderful place in the world. And I think we lose track of that because we live here. And so when we see here, we see conflicts and a lot of social media stuff, dates at City Hall and stuff. So I think we lose track of that. We're very fortunate to live here in Burlington and Vermont. So hundreds of people, as soon as I said those 4 things, people immediately started saying how wonderful Burlington, how wonderful Vermont. So I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else for public forum? I will go. I'm ready to present. Are you gonna go? We'll get there in a second. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna say.
Okay.
You have to wait.
You're on.
Okay, hi, I'm Lena, and pronouns, just want to share about 2 community media things that are available for everyone, hopefully are useful. One is, this is the map of free food in Burlington. This one is on 2 sides. It's a list of places you can get free vegetables, free pantry items, and free meals provided by nonprofits and volunteers and churches and savior centers. This map lives at tinyurl.com/free food printable. And then there's an online version that is updated all of the time. Anyone can edit it with new information about where to get free food at tinyurl.com/free food BTV. And then the other thing is, I am part of a group of people that recently launched an outlet called Burlington Eye, your eyeball, not like an iPhone. And we are hoping to cover what's going on in City Hall with the new administration, share some new ideas about what could happen in our city and analyze what is happening. If you're interested in reading, please check us out at the Burlington Eye, .org. And then if you're interested in writing or joining the collective of people who are doing this reporting, please get in touch with us at theburlingtoneye@gmail.com. That's what I've got. Returning to,
Was that like the public item or just the press?
Sure, yeah.
So I just wanted to, not count on this as well. So there, I did have a couple pictures on the speaker since it's just sitting up there. I did not take these pictures in the public for 7 days. It was a really amazing picture of the totality with sunspots. Yeah, I'm not using the right technique, but and then another photo kind of from the cityscape that photo went out into a couple of days. And I just wanted to kind of be thankful for like all the work that was done. I mean, all the different organizations in the city were kind of gearing up for this, all this, and all of the different vendors and commercial spaces and schools were shut down. We kind of knew what was going on board. And I felt like that sort of city's project, it was a collaboration. There's here, I mean, I think that actually turned out very nicely. We had a piece of equipment that Terry had brought to the park, so that was a big hit. It showed basically the kind of what you would see with your eclipse glasses. So it reflected it down with the white paper, so you kind of track it on that whole hour or 2, partially
was like, I don't know, 300 or something lift vests. Many of which, probably most of which we ended up passing on, so. Really thankful for that. Really enjoyed it myself, glad that I heard a lot of us. did. That's about it.
I have something I'd like to say also.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Sharon Rivers and I live at 159 Locust Terrace. And I propose the glasses and the sun spotter, which was this device that reflected the sun, the eclipse going on. When I first got it, the steering committee, we got this thing from the city, it said, here's a sun spotter for you. Bring it anywhere you want to show the image of the sun, the eclipse by the moon. And I thought, this is the best. Like, I don't even know how to figure this thing out. Well, fortunately, the family was coming to visit us. And there was somebody who was very confident in these kinds of matters. And he took it as kind of connected it all together. And I thought, well, I better bring it over to Callahan Park. I'm sure nobody's going to take a look at it. And it was a big hit. Everybody stopped, look at it, what's going on with this thing, and we had to put it together. Hardly even show everybody. And I posted that next week, the Eclipse classes on the front porch forum. The number of people reached out to me to get these Eclipse classes at the city board to the NPA. And then I brought the box over to Callahan Park and people were just grabbing right left. And so many of them were taken. And then at the end of the eclipse, everybody used the same box as a recycling stuff. So I brought back more glasses than I came with. And I'm grateful that we have this because I needed the process back. But it was a really well coordinated event as people keep talking about it. I'm glad to be a part. Very small.
Okay. Any final comments, thoughts, or home forum?
Is it possible to see the people who are online or not see them maybe, but maybe there?
One person.
Oh, just one.
Are you here?
You're important.
Thank you for being here. All right. I think we will now wrap up public forum and hand it over to our friends from Water Resources. Table. I'm Eleanor Walker. I'm the Water Resources Policy and Program Advisor at the city. I'm in so many percent. I'm the asset manager of Water Resources. Also, in our pronouns, and we're here to talk about the water service line inventory project. Did the size of it?
No. If you can log into the Zoom, then I can promote you to panelist and you can present them. Or if Joe does join Zoom and presents them, either way.
Could you speak slightly slower?
I'm gonna try to say
Anyone else? Helen's interest. Please. What's the longest word? What's the longest word? Yeah. Period? What?
Listen.
Smile. Because in between the first and last letter, there's a Let's hear it.
Hold on, so if you have four-leaf clovers on one side of the road and poison ivy on the other side of the road, what happens if they get crossed? A rash of good luck.
All right, one more joke. One more joke. You can nominate.
James,
You do have to.
All right, what's a pirate's favorite language?
No, it'd be the sea. What do you call it? A priest on a plane? An air fryer.
Oh, my.
Keep up with that one.
I just thought it. I think the worst dad jokes. I don't need to make any joke. I need to.
Oh, that's.
Oh. I'm so mean.
Well, I guess we also have some handouts. We do. There's a copy of the annual water quality report from 2022.
That's getting me.
It is kind of good. I can do it.
We're water nerds. We're excited about it.
Can you give us a summary?
Water quality is great.
Oh, that's great.
In short, we're working on the 2023 report.
Yeah.
There,
Did you send it to me?
Email it to me.
Okay.
Can you get to it?
I haven't received it yet, so it might take a moment.
Which become very relevant, once we do the presentation. And then the other one is just a pamphlet that explains a little bit more about why we're doing.
The city's water for its quality where you test it, like you test it where it comes out of people's spigots, faucets, like the actual.
There are some, there are some, we test water at some residential sites. I forget off the top of my head, I was like, there's 40%.
so there's a lot of testing.
Yeah, then one of them is like at residential sites, and specifically in older homes, as those are more likely have any water quality issues, but they do not have any issues. So yeah, that is just one of the tests. I'm trying it out.
And then the water is sampled as it comes out of the lake, as it is treated through the plant, and then as it leaves the plant, it's sampled very frequently. And a lot of those results are available in the water quality report. And if you have more questions, I can put you into contact with the right person. And then there was that sampling that Eleanor was talking about. Pursuant to the EPA's lead and copper rule, which came out, I don't know, in the 90s. It's on the slide.
91.
I have them up now, so. Okay.
Alright, so we are here talking about water quality in our drinking water. So this is just for a little bit of background. This is for the lead and copper rule. So specifically, just a little bit of history. You know, the country as a whole sort of became aware of the health effects of lead exposure to drinking water around the 1980s. The Safe Drinking Water Act, which is the law of the land that regulates these things, was amended in 1986 to bring in the use of lead paste to our water system. And what it didn't do is retroactively require all utilities to remove existing lead from their infrastructure. So in 1991, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, they established the lead and copper rule to protect public health and reduce exposure to lead and copper in drinking water. So what that rule primarily does is it establishes maximum contaminant levels, so for both lead and copper in drinking water. So yeah, and requires samples to sort of see what those levels are, and it also requires water utilities to implement treatment techniques if more than 10% of their samples are not compliant. So specifically here in Burlington, we've sort of always been ahead of the curve, so to speak. So in 1982, we already started conducting sampling following sort of the standard practice to assess lead, copper, iron, zinc, and cadmium levels in our water. So in 1982, 6 sites had elevated lead levels.
How old is the sample size for those 6 sites that had elevated
How
levels?
old was it?
How many sites were tested,
6.
of which 6?
Between 30 and 40.
Okay.
Yeah, between between figure 30 and 40, about 6 of them had elevated lead levels when immediately sampled at the tap. And what that means is they sampled, like, they turned on the tap and it like immediately sampled the water. Whereas normally you also like wait for the tap to go on for a few minutes, sample again. But so when they did that in 1982, 6 sites had elevated lead levels. And it's important to know that so the Lake Champlain, which is where we get our water from, is naturally soft. So it means it's low in dissolved minerals and it has a neutral pH. And what that means is it's highly corrosive to our pipes. So because the water is soft, it can sort of pull out the metals from pipes if you don't do anything to it. So we started adding sodium hydroxide to prevent corrosion in 1984, and we upgraded to using zinc orthophosphate in 1990. And so what that does is it sort of coats the inside of the pipe so that the water doesn't leach, draw any metals. And since then, we sample lead and copper levels every 3 years in 30 high-priority locations. So those are the residential sites that I was talking about in those full levels. And what is important to know is that since we started treating our water with zinc orthophosphate in 1990, we've always been in compliance with all keeping maximum levels of the flow. Yeah. And so now the reason that we're here is the 2021 lead and copper rule revision. So, yeah, I'm sure that you have all heard of Michigan, and which sort of kicked off a national discourse around public health and drinking water. So following that crisis, the EPA issued a rule revision to better protect children and communities. So the point of that rule is to remove all significant sources of lead from our drinking water system. So you may have remembered that I said the National Drinking Act banned lead from the pipes, but it didn't force utilities to go and remove that lead. So what this rule is, aiming to do is actually removing those sources of lead from the drinking water system. So as part of this rule, all local, state, and water utilities have to develop and submit inventories of their service lines, which are the pipes that get the water to your house from the water main. Identifying lead service lines to be replaced, as well as galvanized lines needing replacement by October 16th of this year. And so in terms of a little bit of background about Burlington. So annual reports from 1929 to 1937 list the kinds of pipes that we have in our system as galvanized, cast iron, and lead. The reports from 1938 onwards no longer mention lead as a potential pipe material in our city. So we have no records or evidence of active lead service lines ever encountered in the field. But we are still required to submit an inventory to EPA. And so, what those sort of numbers look like for us. So here we have about 11,000 service lines. And so we have some records for around 7,000 to 8,000.
You have records for most of them.
Yes.
And we've looked at 7,600 so far.
Yes.
Are the service lines the ones that live in controlled residences that are of the buildings?
Yes. Yes. So we have about 3,000 unknown lines that we need to identify. And also we need to confirm, so we reviewed the records for the 7,695, but we are needing to confirm the of the lines. And so what we're doing is we are doing a thorough records review of everything that we have. And we need to confirm it. We're also asking for customers to look at their own lines and answer a survey that is online to see what material that pipe is made of. And lastly, we have in-person inspections for anybody who, for some reason, can't complete the survey or is having any difficulty completing the survey.
So our general timeline, Back in November of 2023, we began our initial outreach to the public. We were starting to get out through Comfort Forum, having an update on our website. And then in December, and process is the ideal process from December to June. We're looking to reach out directly to private properties, people who live in older homes for which we do not have records, to identify those materials for their service lines. We are also in parallel going through all of the records that we have in file, which is, there are many of them. It's taking us quite some time, but we're getting through at a good pace. So in parallel, we are looking at records. We're reaching out to residents, tenants, customers, landlords, homeowners, anybody who drinks water in the city. Which I hope is everybody. And to try to get as much information as we can from the public to help our inventory process. Kind of going, as we're getting the information, we're compiling our responses, we're putting them directly into the spreadsheet, which was provided to us by the state of Vermont. We're going to submit it to the state of Vermont in October, and they're going to submit it to the state for us. During the whole process, as we find information that is incomplete, we're going to reach directly out to those homeowners. If they don't get back to us, we plan to go around neighborhoods, hang door knockers and say, hey, we're planning to come to your neighborhood, we're planning to knock on doors, expect somebody from Water Resources Division, the right middle of us to ask entrance to your home, which I know is can be stressful for people, so we're trying to get a lot of public outreach to warn people that we're going to do that and try to get that information that we don't have. When that's our direct outreach, and then in October we're going to submit the inventory, and then after October we're going to continue to fill out all the unknown information that exists. We are allowed to submit unknown materials to the NPA. We would prefer not to. Because if we do submit unknown information to the EPA, every year we have to identify 10% and we have to treat them as if they are lead, which we really do not believe them to be lead. We must treat them as such and inform the homeowner that it is possible they have a lead service line. Very unlikely, again, can't overstate the confidence we have in which you very likely don't have this. But we do need to keep at it until we have all known service line.
All 11,000.
So the communications that you may have seen from us back in November, if you received water bill and mail, you received an on-top newsletter, which is a quarterly mailer produced by the farmers. That has some information about this. We also mail postcards to every address within the city, as well as to every property owner who doesn't live in Burlington. We mail them postcards to wherever they live. We can use utilizing social media and front porch forums. We have a survey form on our website. We have a how-to guide, which I see many of you have. We have frequently asked questions on our website. We have all of these materials in multiple languages. So if you or somebody that you know speaks a language primarily that is not English, this information is available to you. We have also partnered with the Burlington Lead Program so that we're all on the same page with the fire marshal. We've been talking with the Burlington Water Unit and CEDO Water Project. And we also plan to work with EPM Med Center, who's actually been very responsive, and large schools. So EPM, but like Champion College, and then just Burlington School District to get the information from those larger buildings. And then, as always, the Water Resources Division customer care, wonderful people, are always available for questions.
The figure that's come up recently is the 70% of growth in renters. Who has the responsibility in a situation where you're a renter? Is it the landlord that should be doing it? We have not until those increase part of their moving, not the renter.
If the landlord does have responsibility for it, again, I mean, this is not the legal mandate, we just, really need your help. So it primarily is on the onus of the landlord, but if you are renting, a single family home and have access to your service line, you are more than welcome and encouraged, please help us, to fill out their survey for that property. For people, we know that many people live in, multi-apartment complexes and do not have access to their service lines because it's often in the basement or somewhere you wouldn't have access to. So for those buildings, we are working with the landlord and property manager, to get access to those services.
Here is a figure of what we can all see it open and, our results to date as of March 27th, so a couple weeks old. But, I still have wards 2 and 3 highlighted from the last presentation. If you look down at Ward 5, as of March 27th, 150 of your neighbors have submitted surveys. And we really appreciate your neighbors, and if you're one of them, thank you, and if you're not, you should be one of them. To date, in March 27th, we've had 910 survey responses, which is really great considering there's 11,000 service lines, so just under 10%, I think it's about 8%, which we're pretty excited if you are a survey person. Having any sort of response rate is exciting, so we're really thanks to all of the Burlington cities who have responded. Just some interesting information. Most people do have copper services. A few people do still have galvanized. A lot of the newer services coming in are plastic. The ductile iron services tend to be on larger buildings that have fire protection systems in place. And then you can see there's very few unknowns from the survey responses. What usually that means is the person's taking a picture and the fittings are so close to the wall or to the concrete in the ground that you just can't see the water service. Or they send in a picture of the meter, but not where the service enters from the ground or wall. Well, I love to see a good water meter. More important to see where the service comes into the ground or wall, because that's the information that we have. So it's a combination of things. But overall, we're happy with the response, but we couldn't be happier. So,
And no lead.
and there has notably no lead. Thank you.
Have you considered, doing the raffle?
That's my next point. There is a raffle.
Yes.
Excellent. If you submit your service on inventory, you're automatically entered to win. Every month we draw 2 people who submitted their answers, and each of those 2 people will win a $50 gift card to a randomized Burlington business. We have a spreadsheet with all the businesses in Burlington from City Hall, and we just randomly choose 2, and whoever wins gets one. And with that, we will explore 2 more questions.
Go ahead, Ruby.
No, you can go.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One is, what is wrong with the galvanized service lines?
There's nothing, I guess, inherently wrong with the galvanized service line, other than they tend to tuberculate, which is a process by which, if you know a person with high cholesterol, they get like cholesterol builds up in their arteries, and it constricts and it reduces the flow capacity. So if you have tuberculation in your pipe, it's much the same. These little blobs kind of accumulate in the middle of the pipe and reduce flow, and you get bad water pressure, and it's not great. Some galvanized pipes are connected up to maybe the flexible connector that we call the gooseneck, because it's shaped like a goose's neck. Sometimes those are made of lead. However, due to our use of zinc orthophosphate, the inside of that pipe is coated, so you're not actually getting lead in your water.
So my next question is, obviously there are water lines in buildings that are not just the service lines. Am I correct to assume that the city's jurisdiction has the service lines?
Yes, the city's jurisdiction ends at the water meter. So the water meter is the city's jurisdiction, and anything inside the house from that is the owner's responsibility.
And then if those lines are whole, is that more under the umbrella of building owner responsibility to enforce it?
But there are, and we have this in the FAQs, like, in case, you're worried that your input fund might contain, but there are several laws in Vermont to prevent that from happening. And we have them listed on the website, but there are several laws that, restrict the maximum amount of funds that would be allowed.
Yeah. Not even 40% of the whole material.
So yes, there might be some which is sort of around some of the internal plumbing, but again, so that's why we have to sync with the phosphate to the water, because on the occupancy, somewhere someone has lead in their old phosphate, you won't get it because we choose water.
We also electronic source, it's on the website. If you do want to get a water test, you can reach out to the state of Vermont, health department. Otherwise, we're-
So my question is, and this may be beyond the job description, but what are the greatest threats to Burlington's water quality now and going into the future?
It's a great question. I don't know the full answer. I do know that turbidity is a concern. So I don't know the exact process, but turbidity just means there are a lot of things floating in the water as it comes in the raw water intake. And it requires more to process that out. So we have a clean finished water product. And we had intense rain events like back in July that really increased the turbidity in the lake. And then I think warmer winters, there's more turbidity. So I know that to be a concern. I don't know that that's the concern.
Do you know what the fix for that is?
It's just the treatment that they already do in the plant. They have a process, but they do filter all out.
Yeah, some of the other sort of main water quality concerns, but they don't affect our drinking water, but like for the lake is phosphorus specifically, which, you know, that's into from some varieties of including agates that goes to the lake. That's why we have permits that from the states that state how much and TNDL, which is the total maximum daily load, for impaired water bodies that sort of regulates sort of maximum levels of certain nutrients that can impair the water quality. So phosphorus is a big one, and we help reduce phosphorus through our wastewater treatment plant, as well as through reductions in stormwater.
It's like street sweeping.
Yeah.
The reasons phosphorus level is low by sweeping up all of that material off the streets and disposing of it elsewhere. There's no phosphorus minerals leaching into the lake.
Would Burlington be at risk of having TMDLs from being considered impaired water waste?
So there are.
Even that they don't get our water from waterway.
No, so we do, the drinking water is fully safe. There are TNDLs in our region, like some of the.
Which is just, that's just EPA saying,
Yeah.
We know that there's an issue with phosphorus in Lake Champlain. We don't want you to add more. This is how much you are allowed to let into the lake at any given time. So that's just a regulation.
Yeah, a TNDL essentially means that the EPA has decided that a water quality is fragile. So they are sort of, they're essentially saying, we're watching this closely. These are sort of the maximum level of nutrients that should be in it to make sure to protect those water bodies. They wouldn't
So is
affect the
that
drinking water.
water's flowing into the lake or the lake itself?
It can apply to water swim.
Yes, and it is.
Are you using
Yes, total maximum daily loads.
So that would be from stormwater runoff, from like Englesby Brook, which was done, that was in our ward, and what happened in Barge Canal, which is in our ward as well.
Yes.
Those are the things that you are also watching.
We do watch those, and actually, totally a different topic. Really cool stormwater management pond that is in the land that you speak of. Which I love talking about another, but that's something that we're doing to sort of manage.
Is that you? Oh, please come back.
Well, if you have any other questions about water or water quality, you can reach out to customer care. My email is on this piece of paper. Email me if you have questions about the search site inventory.
I started to do some of these lines of inventory. I got hardware, take a picture, and then cabinet around. So if I submit it without the picture, is it still valid? I'm 100% sure that it is ductile copper, because it's $7 a foot for it.
Yes, if you want to, instead of attach the picture, attach the receipt from your.
I could do that. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was done by its own office.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's, then if we didn't do that.
I'm still trying to get a picture, but I don't know.
We've gotten a couple survey responses that are like,
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, you.
Then this is fun stuff. Okay, so whenever you're ready for slides again, we are gonna transition to steering committee elections. So just as a quick review of the rules here, anyone in Ward 5 is invited to serve on the steering committee, although we did not make you must be the each person, unfortunately. And if you live in Ward 5, you are also welcome to vote for representatives on the steering committee. We generally meet once a month outside of the NPA itself to plan the meeting and field requests from city agencies and community members, and do any debrief as necessary in summer plan events. And then we send some emails and do outreach and post on Farmers Forum. I would say it's about 2 to 4 hours a month, but other steering committee members correct me if that does not sound right. All right. Okay, no, that's experience. Unless you have to go, unless you're and, you know, lucky for all of us, there's only one for leadership.
Unless you have, I'd like to see anybody try to restrain you from.
All right, so here's who we thought, if you want to go to the next slide. Roger and Terry are stepping down, so thank you. Terry. And then there are a few more of us, and we can talk about nominations in a moment, and other people are welcome to nominate themselves. Does anyone else on the current steering committee want to say anything about what it is like to do this job?
Yeah, you don't have to. My favorite part of this hanging out with the steering committee.
Wow,
It's like,
that's pretty cool.
it's a nice built-in excuse to get together once a month.
Sometimes it brings us history, which is great.
Sometimes really brings too many treats, and I eat too many of them. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's better than you know.
Cool. So here's how I think this is gonna go. Probably not if I'm messing anything up. Everybody is welcome to nominate someone or nominate yourself. That is also allowed. And again, we have the potential to fill 9 seats. And that means that we probably won't have super stiff competition this evening, for this volunteer gig. Anything could happen. I don't want to speak too soon. And I think once you've been nominated, maybe you'll say a few words about why you want to be on the steering committee, just so we can all get to know each other a little bit better. And then provided that we do not have more than 9 people running for the steering committee, I'm going to make a motion to recommend that we vote on the whole slate, to save ourselves some drama. Does that sound okay? Great. Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, raise your hand. Hold on. Okay. Would anybody like to make a nomination?
Wait a minute.
Thank you, Greg.
Do you want to say some words?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nomination.
Oh, yes, I would love to serve.
What were you studying for your 45 minutes?
Yeah, it has to be at least 15.
Okay, hello neighbors, this will be 1 minute. My name is Maria Mercurio, I live on Home Ave. I moved to Ward 5 in the last year, but I grew up in South Burlington, for all of the years of my life, mostly. And I'm very happy to live in my neighborhood, and I've had a great time meeting neighbors in the last few months, especially the election season. And I feel really excited about events and fully coordinate said events so that I can share the joy of meeting new neighbors by helping my neighbors meet other neighbors. So that's the main reason that I am interested in joining the committee. And I can't possibly think of a better use for the third Thursday of every month over the next year of my life.
Wonderful. Would anybody else like to make a nomination or nominate yourself?
They would like to nominate you.
Thank you, Jason. I'm gonna nominate you right after.
I'm gonna nominate Joe there.
I think if we nominate.
I will nominate for if you want to. Might be busy.
You have a few minutes to be ready if you want to accept. I accept your nomination to be considered. We'll go in and see it.
Nobody else would like to.
Well, I'm happy to say words and I'm gonna pass it to Jason and then put it forward to be a feature. And then we can proceed. So now guys, everyone. Great. Election by committee. I am Lynn Greenberg. I use the pronouns in Maple Street. I am based in Ward 5. I am so glad that redistricting and almost put me in Ward 3, Ward 5, Ward 6, or Ward 8, because I don't have anybody that I got to stay in Ward 5. I think that this neighborhood is incredible with so much diversity and so many people who care about each other. Really enjoy being a part of the NPA and a part of this community. And I see that we can get a lot of wonderful things done. Come together and get fed a beautiful meal and talk about the future of our work and conversation. So look forward to hopefully continuing to serve on the NPA.
I'm Jason Gondrange. I live on Caroline Street. I've been on the steering committee for a year. What I'm excited about for this coming year is the neighborhood doing assembly. Because despite the fact that I've been slandered by training, I very much prefer doing things to planning them. So I'm really excited about ramping up a complement to the information and discussion that happens here, which is super important. Of people working together on specific on the ground improvements of their choosing for the neighborhood with mutual support to solve. And I see my role in that as sort of being a consultant / advocate / coach / whatever's needed to help people figure out how to move forward, step forward.
I need to read about this. Like to nominate Kathy Foley. I didn't want to get that nominate yourself. That's what we do. Yeah, so much. So I'm excited to keep serving. I think I did a lot of serve for maybe 1 or 2 more years, 5 or 5 years. Rule. Make it great. It was 1 year. But you know, I guess I'm the most senior member of the staff here, the committee.
Kind of highest paid.
And yeah, it's been taking care of the website to a varying degree. Not tonight that I missed posting something, so I'll do better later. But it's really not fast. It isn't a ton of time, but you know, it's gonna be more time. Hopefully, it sounds like you have a pretty robust group here. Like everybody.
My name is Marie. I live in Legendary Street. I've been in Burlington for almost 30 years now. In this neighborhood, great place to live. I'm a big fan of right democracy. I think, you know, one of the things on the Vermont is that we have the kind of the top halls on our democracy where if you have problems, you get to the neighbors, you have an idea that you come up with, so we bring it to the whole town. And unlike the rest of Vermont, the Burlington doesn't have that particular process, which I hope we can change our way.
again, Kathy Foley from Delta Towers. What got me interested in NPA was actually my friend Vicky Garrison, who's on the steering committee for Ward 4 and 7. And I did a meeting and then came here. So that's what I learned about NPA. But I'm excited about where I live now, in Ward 5, and what in Ward 7. And spent most of my youth there before we could travel all over the world in Marines. My background also at the Marines investment banking, and now I'm here. So I think that, as I mentioned last month, one of our goals, one of my personal goals is to get our residents more engaged in the neighborhood, get more neighborhoodly engaged in us. I think in your project on May 4th, it's a great opportunity to get a working party out of the shower, get them down to the canal, your worthwhile thing that I also share an interest in. So I just think it's a great opportunity. I said, you know, I'm not shy, so I wouldn't nominate myself, and I hope I can be a contributor.
Do you have any more nominations?
I would like to nominate Josh.
Speech.
My name is, again, Jack Tiano. I spoke with the public forum earlier. I live on St. Paul Street. I live by, I think my first NPA meeting was last year on election night. And so I remember feeling like, oh, I wanted to get involved. But like for my first meeting, I didn't feel like comfortable accepting. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll jump right in. But I think I've been to every meeting since that one. And I've really loved what I've found here. Like Fareed kind of said, I'm really into kind of direct democracy, bottom up organizing, getting people to get in a room together and talk about things and solve problems. You know, Jason was saying. And so, yeah, I'm excited to do, to give some of my time, or as much time as I can, more than 2 to 4 hours to try to help continue to build up what the NPA can be. I keep thinking in a lot of my advocacy on other work within the city government that, like, you know, my dream of where Burlington can go is the NPA becomes really, you know, more empowered over time to kind of have decisions bubble up from the NPA up to the city level instead of kind of the city coming to us. We're going to the city. So finding ways to continue building relationships with our community members and making what makes Ward 5 so great. Yeah, so that's me. That's my interest and love for it.
All right. We're at 7 of 9. Yes.
I move that we accept the nomination, all those nominated.
I second that nomination. Moving. Did you give enough time for us?
Any more nominations? Going once. Going twice. Right. I think we have a motion. Should we vote? Now, great. Okay, well, we have a motion.
One person on line too.
So I guess first we vote to accept the motion, to accept all of the nominations and vote as a slate. Am I getting that right? So all in favor, please raise your hand. You did great. You can vote. All right, thank you very much. And now we're gonna vote to, what is the correct word for this? Elect. Elect our new slate of 7 steering committee members. All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Yay. We really have a green team, and new folks, we will meet again shortly, to do our debrief and discussion meeting and planning for next meeting, and like orientation and regrouping as a new steering committee. So I believe I have all of your email addresses. So we'll obviously chat after the
And by the way, we use Slack to organize the stuff. It's easier to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
good election. All right, our next thing is the neighborhood doing assembly. So I'm gonna hand it over to Jason. Unless, actually, here's a question. I'm wondering if we wanna make this quick announcement about street sweeping and then maybe adjourn online, because it seems like we've got nobody online. And this next activity will be much more in person. Does that sound good with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, I just kind of thought about the water quality, and just a reminder that the day for this region is, I think it's Saturday.
And there's also the started,
Or it's also, I don't think that they said they would tow this year, but if you do clear out that you can. That would work better.
I can't quite tell what the letter is, but there is also the northern section of Ward 5. It's in a different zone.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Just the south.
It's the-
Might be.
Those of us who live in Ward 5, but feel
Yes.
in Ward 3. Yeah. If you're out there. Can't see that.
I think it's organized by ward.
It's not.
No? Oh,
That's a lot of time.
So, like, you know, warning people, is there a zone? Because so you really need to, because especially with the old North End change, the new districting, so people automatically think in a certain zone. So if you move your cutoff on Monday, it could turn out that it's supposed to be on Tuesday, and you're gonna end up not even pick it up. So you really should go to the city website and look up and look at the picture and where your street is. So absolutely know what the hell you're. No, but that's the whole thing, and you don't know.
Oh, you don't know if it's
Yeah.
your.
If they don't have, they just part of it. So I'm just cautious, know what zone.
Yeah, they can change. So the downtown region is a few days or something. That's just like the top couple of blocks. Northern blocks.
I was trying to read that, and I was, wait, I don't even know.
Or you could get rid of your.
Yeah.
And then you have- Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is that if this sits right with y'all, is I think we'll say thank you for attending the Word 5 NPA on Zoom. And we'll wrap up our meeting here. We will not say goodbye again, but we will be doing some stuff in the room, and feel free to keep the camera rolling as you see fit. Is that acceptable?
There was also a lot of left over, that there was some people containers, one of which I recall.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason, take it away.
All right, so now we're doing assembly. The origins of this date back to this past summer, when the Ward 5 NPA organized a summer social at Italian Park. Of course, a few hours, and close to 100 people came through, included some music. And they got out right in 1 of the days. I run my phone. Yeah, everything good. We had a great time. And one of the things that we did is we put out a big chart and asked people to write ideas about improvements of things like the South End. And they were all over the map, all kinds of things suggested. It was really interesting. So we then took that and turned it into a Google form where people could say which ones they liked the best, and B, add additional ideas. And we had 80-some people who filled out that form. We also then brought the suggestions to 2 meetings of the NPA, where people got to add more ideas, add the name, etc. So now we're at the part where the rubber meets the road in the sense of, I want to start moving towards a setup that will help people decide what things they want to help make happen. And, get the support and backing that you need to move stuff ahead. And, to sort of kickstart that, what I did was I went through all of the suggested ideas, and looked for themes. And 4 themes emerged, and we may end up changing these in some way over the course of the discussion, but it's a starting point. And one of them is what I call a community gatherings. Meaning there were a number of different ideas that people raised and that lots of people were excited about. They were basically about getting people together in one form or another. So walking groups, community dinners, book clubs, bike clubs, dance parties, movies, block parties. Things that are not infrastructure, but that are simply gatherings of some sort. And those are super awesome, and also I think a really good thing to focus on because the sky's the limit. I mean, if people are willing to put in the time and organize, these are all things that are very doable. So that's one team, and people who are interested in that, we're going to spend a little time, those folks together and start to think about what they want to do along those lines. The second team is a Callahan Park upgrades. There were a lot of ideas related to improving Callahan Park, including planting more fruit trees and berries, getting an outdoor ping pong table installed. You can get healthy ping pong tables that are all weather and just pretty indestructible. Some sort of outdoor stage or pavilion. That's a larger project, but who knows, maybe there's a lightweight version of that. Start. Converting the bathrooms to gender neutral and getting them actually open for some reasonable amount of time on a reasonable amount of days. I don't think I've seen anything but block, except for the baseball games. And more picnic tables. Picnic tables and seating and other things that let people just hang out in the park. And I'm sure there's plenty of other things as well. Those are just the ones that have come so far. But the 4 organizing theme there is Callahan Park and making it more of a community center.
Can I just interject because I just feel you're gonna dash on. Does this have, who actually have anything? The city did this major, review and hired professionals and got community.
Yeah.
Just to be sure that, to create a master plan.
Yep.
So just to be sure that we're not doing something.
Yeah.
Or
I think there's 2 ways to think about that. One is, yes, absolutely, this group should dig up that plan, and one angle of attack might be which of the things in this plan that haven't happened yet are things we want to put some weight.
because it included the picnic tables and.
Yeah, and then there may be other things that aren't in that plan, but that are really lightweight, that would be worth pursuing as well. And that's entirely at the discretion. Thank you for raising that. The third team is what I'm somewhat awkwardly calling a Southern Ward 5 team. Meaning there are several people who said, this is all very Callahan and Five Sisters centric. What about the southern part of Ward 5? And people mentioned sidewalk upgrades and additions, traffic calming on Lower Pine, and bringing water service to Fairview Park so it can have drinking fountain stays. And again, I'm sure there's other things that might emerge there. And I'm not sure if this makes sense as a focus area, but very much as a theme in the responses. So I'm going to put it out there and see if there are people who would like to focus specifically on the southern end of the world. And then the last thing, last team is what I'm calling the big thing team, which is that one of the things that multiple people call for is some sort of South End community / senior center. Other parts of the city have awesome community / senior centers, and South End doesn't, and that's a real gap. And I call it the big thing team because that's, if anybody wants to tell me about, that's something where you need to think the long haul because that's something that will take a concerted effort over multiple years to pull off, but for a really big return if we're able to make it happen, because community centers like that are amazing. There actually is one small community center next to, between the Button Mill and the the apartments that are on Pine Street there. I think that's kind of a community center for the folks who live there, not a sort of broad, open community center. So I don't think, unless I'm missing something, I don't think there is, an equivalent of like the McClure Multi-Gen Center. That's talking, yeah, there's nothing like that in the South End.
Or you don't want to report.
Good question. I don't know. That's pretty much going to be my response to any question that anybody directs at me, because my role is not to have answers, it's to help all of you find answers. Couple of quick sort of logistical notes, and then I'm going to put these around the room and people can self-sort into the group that you want to start thinking about. One is, like I mentioned earlier, the steering committee uses Slack to organize our work. And one of the things I'm going to propose and really encourage for each of these teams, each of these groups, is I created a Slack channel for each one of these, and we can get anybody who is interested in the team into Slack. And what I found is that when you're working on something like this and you do it by email, there's just a million emails back and forth, and you never find the email that's about, whatever it is you want to find. And Slack does a nice job of putting everything in one place. And by having it in the same Slack instance, it's called, as steering committee, it makes it easy for the steering committee to be supportive of these projects. If that ends up completely not working, great, we'll do something else. But I wanted to put it out there as a starting point, because we found it to be very useful for keeping the steering committee. But what we're doing today is I've got for each team, there's 3 copies of something that has the name of the team and then sort of the major bullets that were related to it coming out of the work today. And then 1 copy just says name and email. Please put down name and email if you're interested in this group, because obviously we need to have a way to connect with everybody who's interested. And then the other 2 are just for ideas and notes. I'm not sure what we'll do with them, but I think it's pretty obvious that if we're starting to think now about how we make some of this stuff happen, we should capture ideas. So I'll write it down and then I'll figure out afterwards how to make that. Any questions before we get started? Yeah. Go ahead.
How did you think about how people who are not here are going to get the
yes, there's a couple of things. There's the list of participants from this meeting and the last one. We'll email everybody once this is up and running and offer everybody the opportunity to connect with one of the teams and decide if they want to join in some capacity. We're here in, yeah, the steering committee will do that. The steering committee's role, and mainly I'll be doing this, but in the context of being part of the steering committee, is to be the support system for all these teams. And then we can post a preference forum and anything else that we usually do for anything data related. And what I'll figure out and haven't really given much thought to yet is how do we make an easy on-ramp for anybody who isn't here tonight but wants to be involved in one of these teams. Say, hey, I'm interested in California Park. What do I do? How do I sign up? Boom. Slash what? Slash doing. Perfect. Love it. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you sign up for multiple teams?
Absolutely. And you can either stay with one that you're particularly interested in tonight
and then get involved with another one later, or you can bounce back and forth tonight. Either way. Whatever it is. Anybody else? All right. So, yeah,
So we do a budget every year, $2,500, something like that. A lot of it maybe on food and, kind of. But website has some costs, the Zoom, there's a fraction of the cost the city pays for the Zoom pay. But I think we still have something on the order of cost. That might be a little bit, well, that's true too. That's fiscal year. That's 10/30 or something. So, we might have some for this year too, the next year, kind of plan for the dispense. If they require.
it's 2,500 total a year.
Yeah, so it's not like that's huge amount of money. We'll be able to build a community center.
All right, so we'll put, team one, which is community gatherings, and gather right here. Team two, which is Callahan Park, we'll put over in this vicinity. Team three, which is Southern Ward 5, we'll put down here. And team four, which is Big Bay, community center, we'll put over here. All right, so how about sort yourselves into where you want to be, and I will just kind of float and help and figure this out as we go. No, I don't. Actually.
Trees, how you can say trees.
I wish we had a dining board. Wow, a real line expert once. Oh my God.
No, so. Wait, train between St. Paul and
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we kept it on earlier when they were showing information. But I think probably we can turn it off. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we do $10.